Are you someone who puts expenses onto a credit card even though you have the cash available to pay for them? What you could be experiencing is something called a scarcity mindset, which basically is where on some level you just don't want to see the money leave. And the crazy thing about a scarcity mindset is it can really negatively impact your financial future. However, from the outside, it can actually look like you are good with money. Maybe you really prioritize saving. Maybe you really prioritize never spending anything. And that's because maybe you feel a lot of guilt when you do spend money. So when you have something like an emergency come up, even though you have the cash available to pay for that thing, you don't want to use the cash because you don't want the money to leave, because on some level you don't think it's going to come back to you. So instead, you go and put the expense onto your credit card, not realizing that now from a math perspective, you are going to have to work harder to pay for that expense to earn that money. Because now not only are you paying for that expense, but you're paying for the increased interest costs associated with it, especially if it's on a credit card. And this is how the scarcity mindset starts to become really harmful. You stop making good decisions for your future because you are so worried about the here and now. Even though you may be good at saving with your scarcity mindset, you may be really bad at investing because, again, you don't want to see the money leave. You don't think it's going to come back to you. And we know if we don't invest, we will never be able to stop working because retirement is not an age, it's a number in the bank. There's been studies done on scarcity mindsets, and they actually have the same effects on your brain as alcoholism, as not sleeping for an entire evening. Basically, you're so stressed that your mind becomes like a computer with 50,000 tabs open. It gets bogged down. And honestly, this can also really prevent you from enjoying your life because these feelings of scarcity are not always rooted in fact. A lot of times they're rooted in feeling. And this is actually something that I just helped one of my students through. So she had an emergency come up. She has been saving her emergency fund and she had the cash available to pay for an unexpected expense to her car. But instead of using the cash, she used her credit card. What we did is dive into the thought process behind that, show her logically and emotionally why what she's doing is not in her best interest. Because even though she knows the tactic, the way I teach personal finance is holistically. We need to look at the whole situation. She wasn't putting that expense on her credit card because she didn't know. It was because she did know, but still had the fear. So we needed to break down that fear, break down that limiting belief, and show her how to rewrite that so that she can make better financial decisions moving forward.